Welcome to part 11 of my video series, A Rabbi Encounters the Universe. We've been talking about humanity, and this is a continuation of the theme, A Rabbi Encounters Humanity. In our previous talk, we mentioned that humanity was made a little less than angels, a little greater than animals, and the difference between humans and both angels, if you believe in angels, and animals is that human beings have free will. They have the ability to do wonderful, great things to make this world a better place. They also have the ability to do horrible things, as we see by any study of human history. So the question comes up, perhaps the world would have been better if humanity did not exist at all. And that's the theme I want to deal with today. And it's not one that I made up. It actually is a discussion that is in the Talmud. It's in Eruvin 13b. For 2.5 years, the school of Shammai and the school of Hillel had an argument. Would it not have been better if human beings never existed? And of course, in the end, they decided that it's a silly discussion. Human beings do exist. So humans ought to, since they've already been created, simply check their ways and try to make themselves better people. But this brings us to modern times, and there is what I would call a very strong antinatalism movement going on today, a movement that says it's better if human beings did not exist at all. David Benatar, a philosopher, I believe from South Africa, wrote a book published in 2006 entitled Better Never to Have Been. Would the world be better off if human beings had never been? And a big part of the book is to convince people not to bother having children, let the generation die off. It's a antinatalism for various reasons. One of the reasons that's given in the book is that we're bringing people into the world against their will. Nobody asked to be born. And birth involves suffering and pain and eventually death. Why do we cause people to have suffering and pain against their will? Better we should not have children. So, of course, that's one approach, but another one is an environmental approach that says the world and the environment would be far better off if human beings did not exist, for we human beings are destroying the environment. And there's a lot of truth to that. We are destroying the environment with global warming and animal extinction and population, some would say, out of control. There's a movement that goes even further. It was founded by a philosopher named Les Knight called the Volunteer Human Extinction Movement that says humans should do everything in their power to try to disappear from this world. Certainly not have babies. Again, an anti-natalist movement that's very strong. And I think one of the most interesting artistic attempts to show this particular point of view was a movie that came out in 214 called Noah, starring Russell Crowe. It was a reimagination of the Noah story. I don't know if it was the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it raised a fascinating theme. In the movie, Noah, of course, builds the ark, the floods come. Part of Noah's job is to rescue all the animals, but the underlying theme of the movie is after Noah rescues all the animals, he and his family are to allow humans to die out. And we're to have a world where animals flourish and there will be no more people. At least that's the underlying message of the movie. Obviously, it doesn't work out that way in the end, but that's what God really wanted, at least according to that movie, a world without people. And so there is this movement afoot, antinatalism. Let's get rid of people. Let's say that the world would be better off if human beings did not exist at all. And that's the movement I really want to react to, because I'm a very, very strong believer that if God chose to make human beings, as difficult as human beings may be, God made them for a reason. I always love the title of Abraham Joshua Heschel's great book. He was one of the seminal thinkers among rabbis and philosophers here in the United States. And his greatest book was God in Search of Man. And the basic theme of the book that Heschel was trying to say is that God made human beings because God needs human beings, and God searches for us, and God waits for us. It goes back to that scene of the Garden of Eden when it shows God wandering through and calling out to Adam, Aka, where are you? Where are we? God needs us. Why does God need us? Because we human beings have a job to do on this earth. And if I were to put that in a nutshell, and I'm going to develop these ideas further in future talks, God's world was made incomplete. God's world was made imperfect. God created the world, and God saw the world was very good, but not perfect. And the job of human beings is to perfect this world as a kingdom of God. And so God waits for each of us to do our particular job. There's a wonderful story about a man when his time is up on this earth, goes to the next world, is called before God, and he confronts God and he angrily challenges God. Look at this awful world that you built. Look at the hurricanes and the earthquakes and the disease and the poverty and the hatred and the war. How could you build, God, such a world? Why didn't you do anything about it? And God said, I did do something about it. And the man continues to challenge God. What did you do about it? And God answers, I sent you. We have a job to do. And God needs us. God needs us to perfect the world. God needs us to do what is known in Jewish tradition as tikkun olam, repairing the world. It's an idea that grew out of Kabbalah, out of in particular Lurianic Kabbalah, that the world is filled with these divine sparks that need to be released and sent back to God. And each of us has a job to do. And I will take this one step further and share my own personal belief that not only do human beings as a whole have a job to do to perfect this world as a kingdom of God, but each and every one of us as individuals have a job to do to help make this world a better place, to perfect this world as a kingdom of God. There's been a few times when I've counseled somebody and they say, life is not worth living. Often it's somebody who's gotten old and no longer has the ability to do what they were able to do when they were younger. What should I do with my life? And my answer I will often give is, if you had nothing more to do with your life, God would have taken you already. The fact that you're still here on this world means you still have work that you need to do. But what is this work? What does God need from each and every one of us? What is our particular role, our particular job? That's something that we will continue to talk about as we continue through this series, A Rabbi Encounters Humanity. Thank you.